Factoring by grouping. Factoring by grouping is something that we use typically when there are four terms together. Looking at these three examples, I can only see three terms in each of them. That's because as we're going through the process, we're going to split the middle term into two, and we're going to create four terms that we will factor by grouping. I want you to notice that the difference between the problems in this example and the previous is that there are coefficients in front of the leading terms. And so just looking at the last term to find factors isn't going to work. What we do instead is we look at a combination of the first and the last coefficients. So for example A, I'm going to look at 2 and 9, and when I multiply those together, I get 18. I want to think about what are the different ways that I can get 18 by multiplying two numbers together. 1 times 18, 2 times 9, or 3 times 6. Like we did in the previous example, we now want to find which combination of those will give us the middle term. And it looks like it's going to be 3 and 6. So now this is the part that's a little bit different. I'm going to split the middle term into a plus 3x and a plus 6x. In this type of example, it doesn't matter which order the two numbers are put together, because if I add numbers and I switch the order, I'll still get the same thing. So don't stress about which one you put first and which one you put second. All right, let me move this over. And let's rewrite this. So now what I have is 2x plus 3x plus 6x plus 9. All right, now this is the grouping part. I'm going to take the first two numbers and group them together and factor out the greatest common factor, and do the same thing with the second two numbers. Looking at the first two terms, they both have an x in common to them that will come out to the front, and what will be left is a 2x plus 3. Looking at the second set, it looks like they both have a 3 that can be factored out, and there's a 2x plus 3 that's left. If you've done this process correctly, then the items that are in parentheses after the factoring will be identical. And so that is now the item that's being factored out into the front. So I'm going to take a 2x plus 3 out of each term, and what's left over is x plus 3. X from here and the 3 from here. And this is my final answer. Let's move on to example B. Step 1 is to take the first coefficient and the last constant term and multiply them together. When we multiply those together, we have a negative 6, and I want to multiply numbers together to get 6. 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Because 6 is negative, one of my numbers should be positive and one of my numbers should be negative. I want my two terms to combine to give me the middle, which in this case is a plus 1. So I think I want to select this option. I want to have a plus 3x, and I want to have a minus 2x. That'll give me plus 1x overall. So we split the middle term into plus 3x minus 2x. I'll rewrite this over here. 6x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 1. And then I group the first two terms, group the second two terms. Looking at the first two, it looks like they both have a 3 and an x that can be factored out. And I'm left with a 2x plus 1. Looking at the second two, it doesn't look like there's anything that being factored out. But based on what I saw in the first example, I know that I want my second set of parentheses to match, so I'm going to write it here. And then ask myself, what do I need to put here that would have been factored out to give me a 2x plus 1 there? And it looks like it would be a negative 1. So I'm going to put a negative 1 here. And then again, I've got two terms. Here's a term, here's a term. The thing that's in common to both of them is what's in parentheses that can be factored out to the front. 2x plus 1. And after I factor that out, what I'm left with is a 3x minus 1. Example C. We'll start by multiplying 6 and negative 11. Do some side work. 6 times negative 11 is negative 66. The factors that will multiply together to give me 66 are let's start with 1. 1 times 66, 2 times 33, 3 times 22. That's not divisible by 4, I don't think. Not 5. 6 times 11. Let's see, are there anything else? I think that's all. All right, I want one of my numbers to be positive, and I want one of my numbers to be negative, and I want them to combine to give me the middle term, which in this case is a negative 19. So it looks like this set is the one that I want. I want the overall answer to be negative, so that's going to be a plus 3n and a minus 22n. So then I split the middle term into those two numbers. Plus 3n minus 22n. All right, let's rewrite what we have. 6n squared plus 3n minus 22n minus 11. I grouped the terms, the first two and the second two. In the first set, it looks like I can factor out a 3 and an n out of both terms. There's a 2 plus 1 that's left. I know that I want my answer over here next to be a 2n plus 1. I missed an n here in this first set of parentheses. Make sure that's right. Good. Okay. And so now looking at these two terms, I would have factored out a negative 11 to end up with the 2n plus 1 in parentheses. Now the two terms both have this set of parentheses in common that can be factored out to the front. And after I do that, I'm left with 3n minus 11.